Thank you for
Beautiful.
asking. I just had so many epiphany moments, and
And
yeah,
that's what we're going to
it really
talk
was
about.
beautiful.
That's a
Yes,
good
we are.
thing. And
Yeah.
that's going to be perfect for today's topic. Oops, let me turn this. Yeah. That's what we're going to talk about today, where our topic today that Miss Pluro had epiphanies, right? That we're going to talk about our appreciation, the gratefulness, the thankfulness of past relationships. As we get started and get going, introduce yourself again and let us know what we're going to be doing there, Miss Carrie.
Oh, I'm Carrie Polero. I'm a relationship and mindset coach, and I help high achieving women stop chasing love and start choosing themselves. Today, I really wanted to talk about appreciation for past relationships. Really, I think it's just the energy of appreciation, Gordon. When you're in that energy of appreciating everything around you, my huge epiphany this week was that is when you're in the receiving mode.
Right,
Boom.
right. That makes so much sense. I mean, me and you both can talk about past relationships, how it molded us to this point in our time where we have pretty good relationships with ourselves. What are we going to
Yeah.
be going over since you had this epiphany, since this is your show?
Oh man. I mean, I think I could just start with I feel like appreciation and gratitude is a choice. Because every day I
Absolutely.
wake up and I can choose my perspective. I can choose if I'm going to look at everything in a negative light, or I can choose if I'm going to look at everything in a positive light. Like, what is the energy that I want to create that day? And when I'm looking at every single thing from appreciation, and that was what I chose before we
Mhm.
left to start traveling, was I'm going to be in appreciation for this entire trip because we're going to be traveling for like a month.
Right, right,
And
right.
like every day I get to wake up and just begin to notice all of the things that I'm appreciating every day. And when I am in that joy and appreciation, I notice everything. And then I feel like things just flow to me. Like one day I found money on the ground. Like it was crazy. I had really
That
weird
is
things happen to me, but I
great.
was just like, I felt like those were moments of God. Like, yeah, you're on the right track. Do you know what I mean?
Apps, no, absolutely. You know why? Because now you're receiving. You've been through everything else. You worked on yourself. You did everything the right things because not most people don't even do that. Most people don't even work on themselves because me and Doc just had the topic the other day, right? Doc's topic was like, he told the men, it's not your job to make your wife happy. It's her job to get emotionally right. And that brings the topic of what you got going on because it just is so perfect. Um, what are some other stories that let's rephrase that, right? Let's reverse back. I'm going too fast because I got so much things on my mind. Where did it start? How did you notice it? And what happened? Ooh, let me make a funny face because the YouTube likes the funny faces. Like you'd be like, oh.
Hmm. No, so when we left to begin our travel, I knew he was planning something for my birthday. He kind of told me what it was,
Okay, cool, cool.
and then I noticed where my mind went with it. My mind initially went with it. Oh God, this is a music festival, kind of like outside all day, and we have to dress up. Like I'm gonna sweat. Like my mind went to all these places. And then I was like, Carrie, what would it look like if you were just like, hey, let's go and have fun and
Right.
just be in the gratitude of the experience?
Oh my goodness.
So we went, and I mean, I think it started before we even left the house. I was noticing that I had an option. I could stress myself out and, oh my God, make sure I had to pack all of the things, certain things, and or I could just like kind of let go and allow myself to
Oh,
experience the experience. And like
right.
that's where I just kept going was experience the experience, Carrie, experience the experience. And that was like the reminder of staying in the gratitude of it. Um, and so we go to this event for my birthday, and as I'm sitting there and I'm looking around, I realize I'm like, oh my God, he creates so many amazing experiences for me over the last couple of years. And
Yes.
man, and get honest. Carrie, have you really appreciated all of them? Have you complained? Like, really look at how your behavior has been. Have you complained about it? Did you look at it in a negative way? Are the
Mhm.
things that you remember about these experiences negative? Like the things you didn't enjoy? Are those the first things you think about? Um, and it's really just about retraining my thinking. But I was just like, what came up for me was, wow, if I am in that attitude of, let me tell you all the things I didn't like about it, that's not very inspiring for anybody to want to continue to do anything for you
Mhm.
because all you're going to do is complain. And I remember getting an exercise from one of my mentors. She's like, I want you to go 24 hours and not complain. And I was like, okay, I'm like, I can fucking do it. And she's like, and if you complain, you get to start over again. And then like the first couple of
What?
hours, I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna be starting over every freaking hour, every few minutes.
What a
Then,
what a
then it,
breakthrough.
oh my God, it landed for me of like, how often do that I really do complain and I don't see the beauty in everything.
Mm.
And so that began me really looking a little bit deeper of, okay, where do you get to change your perspective? Because if you're always seeing the negative, that's all you're going to find. You clearly have a track record
Yep.
of that,
Yep.
right? And that can go back
Yep.
into my past relationships. I mean, if I really want to be honest, how many of my past relationships actually could have worked if I just bitch and complain all the time and found everything wrong with them?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. Because, but, like you said, your mentality was different back then. Your mentality of the prize meant meant guys doing everything for you. Look at that. If it wasn't right, you would, like you said, you would throw the grenade in and blow this shit up because you didn't get what you wanted, right? But at the same
Correct.
time, there's when I watch these videos today about the modern dating scene, the modern man, and all this other bullshit that's going on, right? Not everybody gets to become like where you did because you put in so much work and it doesn't come overnight. But the realization that your behavior changes because of that, and then you're going to receive so much more. You know what I mean? You're going to have some, like you said, Abel loves to create experiences for you. I mean, I'm so happy for you that because you deserve everything that's coming your way, right? From this man. He's not a pushover. You guys both care about each other now in a way that you never knew, right? Where
Mhm.
it's your time. And this is why your posts are so powerful. Guys, if you're not following Miss Carrie Paluro on her posts, she keeps it as real and as authentic as possible because she's putting that work. When you look at all these women out here that's just taking, 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 at the end of the day, they're gonna be, they might be your age and still miserable and lonely, and everything would pass by. Does it make sense? And let me ask you another question. What was the pivot point for you? There's always a gap. I call it a gray area, basically. There's like when you had a 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and one thing that happened where you just went for it with Abel.
I think it really was, it occurred in this relationship. I recognized the patterns. Um,
Oh,
my ability to recognize the pattern was coming up.
nice. Nice.
And as I recognized the pattern, it was like, okay, so the pattern is that you are going to recognize all the things that you don't like about this person. You've done that your whole life with everybody else that you've been in relationship with. So
Regardless. Oh,
now, and you already know what's going to happen if you continue on that pattern. Where do you get to go now? What would it look like if you just appreciated everything that he is, the way he's being, the way he shows up for you? And I started writing it down. You know what I mean? And because I got to tell you, my mind doesn't naturally go there. I've had way too much experience and way
of
too much
course. Yeah.
habit and way too much patterns of looking at it a different way.
Of
So
course.
I started looking at it from a new perspective and writing it down because there's something that happens for me, like from the mind through the body, the pen to the paper, right? It
No,
lands
yeah.
for me. So just writing everything down. And I don't necessarily mean like write down a gratitude list. No, I mean like really reflect on my day of how did he show up today? How did I show up today? What do I really appreciate about the day?
Give
And
me.
that,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Interrupting you. You're on the floor.
no,
I'm
no,
so
no.
sorry. Because I'm thinking like this, right? If you're writing down those patterns, you're noting these patterns. What would you tell women to do on how to notice it? What made you notice that at that time, right? Because it's like
I,
caught it. You actually caught it.
so yes. And I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but my dad got married again this last year, and
Oh wow,
his
no.
new wife is like the queen of appreciation and acknowledgement.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
so seeing her, the way that she shows up in the relationship, acknowledging, and she does it with all with men, period, with everybody. She's just really, that's her natural gift. She loves acknowledging people. And I started to
That's
watch
amazing.
it is, and I started to notice my
Amazing.
dad light up with the all of the acknowledgement. Like he
Yes.
loved to be praised. And then I was just kind of like, man, I kind of like to be acknowledged too. And if
Yeah,
that, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
in that
it's just
sense,
a different
yes. In
energy.
that sense, yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because to
And
feel
so then it's like,
seen.
let me, yes, to feel seen. Let me like really let it land. And when I started to recognize all the ways in which Abel was showing up and acknowledging him. And sometimes I don't even have to say anything. But a lot of
Mhm.
time it's really about the energy in which I show up and the expression. And I'm telling you, it can be anything. Like the other day, him going to the store and remembering I needed a toothbrush and got me a toothbrush. Like
The small
the
things.
simple little things.
Small
How
things.
thoughtful was it that he thought of me? He could have been like, that's your responsibility, handle it. Um, and so just recognizing the little things really created a lot of space for recognizing the big things. And
Yeah,
then
no,
it
yeah.
was just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yes.
wow. I realized that I was in this moment of receiving and just allowing the whole birthday weekend to just unfold the way that
Yeah.
it was. And then, because I was in that energy, we went for Father's Day at his father's house, and we're at lunch with his dad and his dad's wife, and I was like, oh my God, I'm noticing how his dad is showing up so lovingly to his wife. I've never noticed that before. I've always noticed him being very rigid, kind of stressed, businessman, right?
Okay, okay,
You
okay,
already know
okay.
where I'm going with this. But
Yeah.
because I'm now looking for the gratitude and appreciation, I see it. Now, he probably acts like this all the time, but because I'm not looking for it, I don't see
You
it.
don't see it. You're oblivious to
I,
it.
I'm oblivious to it. And so in the car on the way home, I said it to Abel, oh my God, your dad kept referring to his wife as my love, and he was just so like loving and like his energy with her was so different today. And I said, is he like that all the time? And I just don't like maybe I'm just not paying attention. And he goes, well, yeah, they're like that a lot. And I was like, oh wow. And then it just really landed for me that it this is the practice of
Yeah.
if I am in the appreciation of all of it and I'm seeing how people are really showing up, because I want to see the good, I want to experience, um, I want to experience the gratitude, I want to experience abundance, then it's just like I invite it all in. I see all of it.
Yes, yes.
And then I
You,
experience it for
yeah.
myself.
Yes, absolutely. What you're trying to look for, what in my eyes, is you want to be in good graces right now because you never had grace lined up for you, right? So now all
Mm,
this, like even our topic, grateful for past relationships is you've seen, I wouldn't say the error in your ways, but you've seen the error in the behaviors of what could happen because I can
yes,
talk to you straight about that because I know the error of my ways too. And
absolutely.
once you have that figured out, nothing matters. Nothing but good stuff matters because, like I said, the mortality. I mean, at the age that we're going in now, you have to appreciate everything that comes after now. Your relationships, the small things, the love, even like the small, like buying the toothbrush, the small things, the messy of the house, my kids being ridiculous, right? I'm like, it doesn't matter because I'm in good graces. Why would I throw that away? Right? Especially like
Yes.
all that stuff. Now, let me ask you this question now. Whose job? Oh, this was the Doc's thing, right? Are you a bonus to Abel's life and vice versa now?
Yes, because I'm creating what I'm creating my life and my reality. And the individual that is attracted to that is an absolute bonus. And so my commitment is because I'm in the appreciation that this man showed up for me, that I get to wake up every single day and look at my life in appreciate like my entire life in appreciation, all the things that I've gone through and myself.
Right.
And my commitment to myself is to treat myself with love and respect and appreciation each day, and also him as well. And it really, I believe it just naturally comes out when you are treating yourself that way.
Yes,
And
yes,
it can
yes.
look any particular way. Like for myself personally, there is I have like little rituals that I do every single day with my meditation and my working out. Like that is for me. That
No,
is how
yeah.
I show
I get
myself
it. Yeah.
love and respect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I
Because
get
the
I
days that I
absolutely get
don't do
that.
that, I may not be spiritually fit.
I mean, but that you're keeping your sane of mind at the gym doing your thing because you go in that space. You've been at that space for so long.
Yeah,
That's your basically your meditation. You're right. Your
yeah,
spirituality comes with everything else that's you're doing right. Whether you're calling it Gaia, karma, vibration, frequencies, faith. You mean it's all you're putting your tokens of goodness in your bank, right? And when you have appreciation and grace and you see things for what it is and not trying to mold it in your way and you just let it fall in place, you can pick up all these. I look at it as picking up gold coins and opportunities with other people arise because now you're seeing the affection from other people, the appreciation from other people. It's like, wow, I never noticed that shit before. Like, where did that come out? He's always been doing that. But you can that's how you can tell you've grown from you might it could be in a more spiritual thing like you kind of like that glowing aura that you have just became more golden in a way, right? Let me ask you this from give me an example in case some women are watching this. What was the difference between then and now? Give me a couple oh, let me see those eyes again. You did the
um,
oh.
and past and well, I mean, in my past relationships, I can say that I did not appreciate them the way that they showed up. I can look back now
Yes.
and appreciate them. Um, and I didn't have the understanding back then. So yes, it was a learning
Makes
lesson
sense.
that I got to
Yeah.
go through. Um, and I can look back and appreciate the way that they did show up for me, the way that they did take care of the relationship. I don't need to focus. I mean, let's face it, when you're in a relationship, every there you there's a lot of times that you act in an effective way and sometimes you act in an
Right,
ineffective
of
way.
course.
It is what it
There's nothing
is.
wrong with it.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
There's nothing
everyone's
wrong
guilty.
with
I can
that.
pick apart any single relationship that I have been in. Um, and I'm just I am in the gratitude that today I can look back and go, wow, he really did show up for me in this capacity.
Mm.
This person really did show up for me here. And, you know, I- thank God I was able to have that experience with them because every experience that I had and every relationship that I went through has prepared me to show up to the one that I'm in today.
Absolutely. I mean, that is just 100%. But see, here's the thing. You could go two different ways down this path, basically, right? You could go, I'm going to keep being the old carry, this and that, blow relationships, not get nothing, but then you wouldn't have no divine intervention, basically, right? You could put in the work, you could
Yeah.
do the things, you could see it gradually and accept the process for what it's become. And that's even more astonishing because you get to accept it and receive it and learn from it all because the process is the one that that is the one that makes it worth the while, because the goal, you're living your dream, the goal now. You're walking in it. I mean, is to me, there's hands down that you have what you've been subconsciously dreaming of, and you're living it with a man at your side, with a partner that's strong enough that you didn't blow it up because you did all this work for the past 10 plus years, right? Now, let me ask, what relationship, give me your top three things you did in past relationships that you didn't do today. Like with your relationship with Abel. Then I'll give you mine.
That question one more time.
What would, in your past relationships, is grateful for past relationships, right? Give me one or two stories of a relationship situation of old Carrie and how you changed to new Carrie when the same situation arose. Because it always does. You just treated it differently.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so in the past, oh yeah, like there, oh man, there's quite a few.
Of
Um,
course. Okay. You
I want to
take the
say
show.
like maybe in my I kind of have like a little
Timeline.
pattern of where I see how my relationships have gone. And I'll start with the very first relationship
Okay.
when I was 14 and got
Okay.
pregnant.
Okay.
Okay. And then not having um the ability to process and discern as an adult, right? Because I'm a
Yeah, of
child,
course. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Not having the
You're
ability to
basically a
discern
child
and
also.
process as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think that was the point where I made a lot of decisions about relationship. Because the guy that I was with at that time left and was very mean during that time. And now since then, I want to say we have cleared space. It's good. Like when we became adults, and it was
Yeah.
like totally fine. However, I do recognize that that was when I created a lot of the anger and frustration going into other relationships. So I think that one is very important.
That makes
And
sense.
I'm
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for it because it really allowed me to see where it really is all about interpretation.
Like your
It
past
really
topic.
is.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's all about interpretation. And so I can choose to see that relationship as a stepping stone, a learning experience, or I can choose to see it as this person. I mean, I could have created so many stories around this. This person took advantage of me. I could have taken a whole, it could have
Yeah.
taken a whole nother turn. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
thank God I didn't go there, but it was all just, it really, I allowed it to affect my self-worth. That's the big thing that I take away from that.
Oh,
I
the
allowed it to affect my
self-worth.
self-worth
Yep.
and made it mean something
Yep.
about me because this person left. Oh my God, this person left, right? Just like my dad left, right? Like,
Yeah.
let me
It's
continue
that
to
pattern.
show up in this way. So that set the tone of how I'm going to show up in relationships. And so I show up in such a way that I'm protecting myself of the very thing that I create, which is you leaving.
That's huge
Right?
for
Like
you.
I show up because I
Huge.
want to protect myself. I'm
Yep. Huge.
angry. I'm mad. I'm
Yep.
not going to let you take advantage of me. And so I create a separation in the relationship where you eventually are like, this isn't what the relationship I signed up for. I'm out, man. And you
Right.
and
Right.
you
Right.
leave.
Right.
And then it reinforces my story and I get to be right.
But it's all made up.
And so like it's all made up. And so being able and I think what's so great is like being able to clear the space with each one of these men has just been so healing and amazing because it's like I get to
Oh, it's
see
beautiful.
that it doesn't have to be that way. I can change my life anytime I want. I can change my perspective. I can change my reality. And it all starts with what I want to create. And there was another relationship that I was in that that he cheated and I had a choice of do I stay here or do I leave? That's another self-worth conversation, right?
That's another one.
And
Yeah.
there was this, yeah, there's part of me was like, oh my God, I need to stay and make it work. It's really interesting. And I stay, but when you choose, well, I was so young back then, when you make a choice like that, you get to choose also to leave the anger and resentment behind if you're choosing to stay in a situation like that. I didn't
Oh,
understand that
that's
back
good
then. I was in my
advice.
20s.
That's good advice.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm going to stay here and make it work, but I'm still going to be pissed off and remind you every single day of what you've done,
I was just about to say
right?
you
Like, that's not
self-punish yourself.
absolutely. Both of us are being punished. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm hurting my self-worth. I'm being abusive to him, right? By
It's
acting that
natural.
way. It's not
Yeah.
good. And yeah, it was, I think that really allowed me to see how I show up. I think looking back now, one of the most I think the relationship I have the most appreciation for is
Hmm.
my very first marriage. He
Okay.
was such an amazing human being, and I came with a lot of hurt and a lot of anger and a lot of stuff. And I can tell you that I can't say anything bad about him at all. Like there was nothing that I remember my biggest complaint about him was that he would come home from work and play video games. Like seriously, that was my only complaint. But I didn't have to work. I went to school. He worked. I know. Listen,
Okay.
Gordon, I
No,
was
no, I
so
get it. No,
not
I
in the
completely
gratitude of
get
this
it.
man. He like I didn't appreciate him for I wasn't ready for him.
Yeah, that you wasn't ready for him. That's a big
Oh,
one. That's
I
a
was not ready for him. He was such an amazing human being.
yeah. And
And I
then
feel like now doing all of the healing work and
right.
I'm just like, oh wow, I'm presented with another opportunity that's someone that's just so amazing.
It comes back
And
full
all
circle.
the baggage that happened between, yes, all the baggage that has happened since that my first marriage to today, that can't affect the way that I show up today. Period. It's a brand new relationship. It's totally different. And
Is
I
that
get to show
would you
up
call that
just as if
would,
it
what would you call that? Would you call that wisdom process,
with
the
a
work?
with a
What would you call
new,
it?
I think I get to show up with a new lens,
New
like a
beautiful.
new glasses.
Yes, 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 yes. You got the
I
AI
feel like I
meta
was
glasses right
wearing
now.
these
Tells
like
you everything what
distorted.
not to do.
I I remember like I feel like I was wearing these distorted like beer goggles, if you will, for years.
I
But you
get
know,
it
like
because
all
I get it.
you know, it was beautiful because I look back at that in my first marriage and I'm like, oh wow, that set the tone of how a man gets to treat me, right? Like he had no
Okay.
idea. And of course, since then, I've been able to clear space with him as well. Because that relationship ended poorly. Like I cheated on him. And
Oh,
yeah,
was it by
it didn't
choice
end well.
or
And
you made excuse?
oh, of course I made an excuse. I was mad. He
Oh,
was
okay.
playing video
That's
games.
what
I was
I had to
22.
clear the air.
Dude,
We had to clear
I
the
was
air.
22 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
we
clear
got
the
to
air.
clear the
Okay,
air.
okay, okay.
Um, oh man, but I got to show up later on and appreciate and express my appreciation for him
Hmm.
and own all of my stuff later on. And he was grateful and he acknowledged some things that he did, but that wasn't the intention behind the conversation. It was just for
Right,
me to
right,
clear
right,
my
right.
clear space.
If you was to give,
And I've actually cleared with him a couple of times.
oh, that conscience got to you. I mean, what if you was to
Like
tell
there was
a
different
young
levels.
Carrie going through this exact scenario that you just mentioned? What would you tell her if you was to go back? Like, some of our shorts, our clips, women watch this crap, right? I mean, not the crap, but the channel, right? For our us
Yes.
talking about that stuff because it's so good. What would you tell the young Carrie about this guy and what to look out for, knowing the outcome?
About a
When
good
like I said, if you
relationship.
was to tell like Carrie, when this happens, do not blank do this. When this happens, because you're looking back, you're like a future self telling, and I hope women that watch this or some men might be able to understand this. Then I'll give you my story because in this way, they don't have to feel like it's their problem. You know what I mean? Like others have gone through this stuff too, right? Like,
Yeah, if I were to look back at and I'm going to use my first marriage. If I were to
yeah,
go back there, I would say, hey, that day that the first thing popped up for me to bitch about the damn video game, hey, why don't you go sit down and write down all the things that this man does for you? And then
Oh, that's deep.
you don't get to complain about the video game. Like, I mean, it sounds so trivial today when he was showing up in such a powerful way, and for me to only see that one little thing, and I like focused on it like a rabid dog.
Uh-huh.
That made I made it mean he doesn't love me. He doesn't love me. He just wants to not to spend any time with me. And it's
You
all
made it
about
all
my
up.
interpretation. Oh my God, I made it just mean the most terrible thing ever. And it's so funny. So like I would say to her, the first time that thought popped in, Carrie, go sit your ass down right now and write down all
Ah,
the amazing things that this man, the way that he shows up for you,
uh-huh.
and that's what you get to focus on. And that's what you get to
Uh-huh.
focus on every single day. When you wake up, you read that. And when those thoughts come up in your head where you want to focus on all the
That's
ways that you think he's not showing up for you, you get to keep your eye on the prize. Keep coming back and focusing on the way that he is showing up. And that is actually the practice that I'm taking right now
mhm.
with my new relationship. And like I've made a commitment to myself that every day I get to express to him in some level or some capacity my gratitude.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Good for you
Like,
guys both.
period. And
Yeah, good for you guys
it doesn't
both.
have to be in words.
Right.
I mean, it, it can be in words, but it gets to be he gets to feel appreciated every single day. I just think that's so important.
Yes. Yes. No, absolutely. Because that is so powerful. Because I just was watching a video yesterday, like how men, right? They was talking about in this podcast, in this show, whatever I watch for making our content, right? You have a woman that a female that everything is given to her, the work, the time, the effort, but the one thing you didn't say, I loved you. Oh, something is the whole world is going to end, and she just makes it all up for nothing. And it's like shit just happens, and it's like, but you forgot about the 1,000,001 time, but you want to focus on just that one time. So it goes in line with what we had just said. We're talking about because my past relationship, my first daughter's, my first kid's mom, right? We wasn't married, but I get it because I was just entering the life, right? I was just in between finishing high school, and I went after that. I went full blown, and I remember holding. Basically, she did some stuff because she didn't want to have nothing to do with the life I chose, but I was making all the excuses
Right.
for her by being in the life and this and that and all the drugs. What she did was the first time she took one of my guns and she hid it. She took she took a pound of drugs and flushed it down the toilet. And she did this, but then at the same time she thought doing all those things because she knew me before all this other crap. And I still thank her to this day because she taught me the most about having a
Mhm.
about everything else. And then she came over. She wanted to have a. She thought having my daughter would suck me back in. But during this time, I'm deep in the life, right? So it's like I'm trying to keep
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep this baby away from me because I don't want nobody kidnapping and all this stuff, all the good stuff. But like she's always been there. She's always been there for me when I've been to prison. She always was there to when I wanted to talk, to call. I'll go to Hawaii. I don't walk in their house. Like I still open the door, screen door, talk to her husband, everything else. Like, oh, how's everything? I used to send him all this stuff because I grew as a person also. And then that's where the past relationships gives you the best lessons into the relationship that we both currently have now because we're both living the dream lifestyle. If you was to go, let me let me ask you this: do you think you would be in this situation you are in right now 10 years ago?
No, and in fact, being in that lifestyle, I didn't believe it was possible.
Yeah.
Just because
I
of
get
being
that.
in the lifestyle
I
and being
get
able to
that. Yeah.
witness all the things that you see,
Yeah.
it's just like, this is what life really is. This is, and people just don't know it. So let me find
Yeah.
some acceptance for this is how life is. But it's only because I'm putting myself in that space.
True. 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 How is it?
Um,
I mean,
and I also,
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, I also think that I was in a relationship with someone who is in the same lifestyle as me.
Always.
And so
Always.
that became when I decided to leave, and actually he was the catalyst of me leaving. He he had said, "Hey, I think your life will improve if you leave the lifestyle." And when I left and went through recovery, got off drugs and alcohol, uh, left the club. I remember having this epiphany. I remember working at the club and I was sober. And it was like, I'd been
It's
working there for
off.
5 months. And I'm like,
Wait,
this one
repeat
day I
that.
walked
Repeat
in
that.
and
Sorry.
I'm
I'm
like,
sorry
this
for
fucking
interrupting
job
you. Repeat
sucks.
that. Repeat that. Let me wrap my head around that. You went to back to the club
Yeah.
sober to make money or just to see if you liked it again?
Oh, no, no, no. So when I was in the club is when I got sober. I got
Okay.
sober working at the club. So for 5 months, I worked there sober. And I remember going into work one day, like around right when we were I was transitioning into month 6. And I was like, this fucking job sucks. I don't like being here. Like, I feel like shit every time I walk in. I don't even like the people that come in here.
The
And then I'm
people.
finding myself now I'm angry because the same people that come in, that I mean, and we can talk about motives and stuff. It doesn't matter, but it was just like, I don't like the way you look at me. I don't like why you're here. Well, I'm the one putting myself in the fucking
I was
environment.
just about to
Do
say,
you know what I
maybe
mean?
you
Like,
know why they
it's
go.
like this is
Right.
my
Right.
responsibility.
Right.
So I decided to leave. So I left the club, and then after that, the relationship didn't really work because he was still in the lifestyle, and there was this anger and resentment there about that.
One
Like,
foot
don't
in,
tell me
one
to
foot
leave and
out.
you're gonna stay there.
Yeah, that's that one
Yeah.
foot in,
And
one
then it
foot out
was
I was
like,
telling you about.
well, yeah, and I realized that I was like, okay, as much as there were so many things I loved about him, there were also a lot of things that just they weren't aligned. The way he was showing up wasn't consistent, and he wasn't committed. As far as in my well, and again, it's perspective, right? It's
I was
my
just about to
perspective.
say,
He's
it's
not
like how you're
committed to
looking at it
bettering his
again.
life.
Right.
He, I mean, if you ask him, I'm sure he would be like, "Yeah, I stayed in there because I was taking care of my son, and I needed to make sure that I could provide for him." And
Excuses. Correct.
from my perspective, I was like, "You weren't, you weren't committed to bettering your life." You know what I mean? So that, I mean,
But
that's a great example
yeah.
right there, where you have two people,
Yep. Yep.
two different perspectives
Yep.
that
Yep. It's
have
just
two
so
different views,
amazing.
and it's okay.
Yeah, it's amazing
It
because
doesn't
you
make it
look at
right
it.
or wrong.
No, because
Yeah,
you can make the excuses. You could do the stuff. You could also get sucked back into it. You can also do something else that you could make excuses for him. Was he the owner? Was he a bouncer? Was he just in this lifestyle? Or was he just putting in stuff like there's choices, right? Like I can see because
mhm,
even for a club owner myself, right? I understand because I make excuses for everything that I was doing, even with all the
of
relationship,
course,
with all the girls, with all the things, because I'm grooming them to do what they do, showing them how to get it, what we men like,
exactly.
how do you. That's just part of the lifestyle. I remember, I remember when when girls used to work for me when I was doing the online stuff, right? And I was young, right? Really, really young. Like I was too young to be doing what I was doing, basically. So, but I got one. We come to my office. It's overlooking Waikiki. It's on the top floor, like a 70th floor, looking down in Waikiki. I said, "You come to the office. You're gonna come work for me. I have three choices. You can work in the club. You can work on the camera. You can go on live. In one side, one drawer, I have all this shit. Which one you want? On this side, I have all this other stuff, right? They're looking at me like they're trapped, basically. But I'm making excuses for them to do all this stuff.
Mhm.
And it's like, but then it's like when I look back in my life or the past relationships, like, man, how much of a piece of shit was I? But then basically that's just the admission of it all. But how am I doing this? But I never did burn them in a way that they disrespected what I was trying to do for them. And then until this day,
Hmm.
everybody's like, man, you showed me a different life, a this and that. But I was always cool about it, right? So it's like, yeah, I could own the club, I could put you to work, I could get you going, I could train you to do this, all of this stuff. But at the same time, it's gonna be a rotational door because that's just how it is emotionally, psychologically. And if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you can get screwed at the end of it all. How much do you think you have grown from the past relationship trauma?
Oh, wow. A lot. And I think, and what I was thinking earlier was I have become responsible today. And what I mean by that is
Ooh.
I realize that I'm
Ooh.
responsible for my thoughts, my emotions, and the way that I show up. And no one else is responsible for that. And regardless of how anyone else shows up in my life, if it didn't matter who it is, I am responsible for the first thought that goes through my head. Is it coming from love or is it coming from fear or is it coming from anger? Like,
One
figure
of
it out
yeah. Yep.
quickly. And then from the thought, um, it's going to create some emotions in my body. And if it does, I'm responsible for handling those emotions before I have a conversation or I interact with another human being, because that's not okay to interact with someone, like to take things out on other people. They're coming from responsibility.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I believe in that 100% because it's not their fault.
And it goes back to what you were asking me about, what Doc said about, I'm like 1,000%. Everyone is responsible for their own happiness. I'm not outsourcing my happiness to you. Then that makes you my God.
That is perfect. That's a quote of the day. Outsourcing. What was last week? You outsourced something last. In fact, I just edited. Dude, this week is your stop outsourcing your happiness.
Well, and
But
because really it's about I want you. I'm trying to use you like I use drugs. I'm trying to use you to
true.
change the way that I feel.
Right, right, right.
So I'm outsourcing my happiness. I'm outsourcing the way that I'm feeling onto you, and you are now responsible. And so that makes me a victim, and that makes me not in
Oh,
control and power of my life. And that's absolutely not true. That one little shift, and that's why I always say, and I said it last week, I believe I'm responsible for it all. And what I mean by that is I'm
big,
responsible for the reality that I'm creating. Period. No one else is responsible for the reality I'm creating, only I.
big, big, big. But it took so long to come to that conclusion because it took me
And if
years.
I am, it's like it did because I'm able to I didn't like it in the beginning. I don't want to be
Of course
responsible.
not.
Like I'm not happy with the way that my life has turned out, right? And that was the truth in the beginning. I wasn't looking at it in gratitude. I was looking at it like my life is kind of shitty right now. I don't really like it. I mean, when I am experiencing my greatest pain, that's when I'm motivated to light a fire under my ass, right? And so I look at it and I'm like, well, it's so much easier to blame other people than it is to go, oh man, I fucking did that. Shit.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. What would you tell women, the modern, here's the part that gets to me. You was in the modern feminist movement at one point, right?
Mhm.
How does that how does that affect your thought process now? If you're looking at you're saying if you're seeing a young Carrie now, 22 years old, angry at the world, and on this feminist movement, what would advice would you give this young lady? Trying to, because you see it all over the internet, you see it all over the thing. What do you tell her now with as you figured this all out?
I would have told myself that I get to go look at me. I get to be honest with the things that have occurred in my life and recognize the anger that I've built up, or the frustration that I've built up, or the stories that I've built up along the way. And is it creating the most optimal um, life that I want? And if it's not, I have the ability to choose it. If you want to be a feminist, but is it creating a life for you? I mean, do you feel good every day? Are you showing up angry, trying to like prove your point and fight the world? Do you know what I mean? It really do whatever you want, but do it from love and not from
Right.
anger and frustration and conflict. And I think
Right.
that was the difference was I was showing up in anger and frustration and conflict. I want to create conflict. I want to cause other people to feel the pain that I'm feeling inside because I'm not willing to look at it yet.
Right. Right. That's we're gonna we that's a perfect way to end on our show today, because that was deep actually. And it actual gave situations, resolution, and answers to everything that we've been through. And it's like I said, I was telling somebody, me and Carrie can relate, because we've been through this crap so many times over and put in the work, right? And it's still a work in progress. And then when I see Carrie happy doing the flower things, you got her, man, like how I got Andrea, this and that. We just had a situation where yesterday, she came home, a situation happened on the plane, and it was like it was like it wasn't a good one. Like it was like somebody like went down. It's like, and then she, like, everybody's filming her, and she's like skirt up everything, doing her like trying to get this guy back to living. But you mean, okay, let's talk about it later. Do some other stuff. How are you feeling today? This and that. I mean, and then, that's one of those things, like, if I didn't have the thing, or in fact, for how, like, you helped me, right? I wouldn't have understand a lot of this stuff. So I thank you for that too, right? But we're gonna end that with this show today. It was like, guy, women, gentlemen, if your wives need help, and she wants to be the prize, and you want my help together, we're doing a lot of this stuff together. Please reach out to Miss Carrie Polero at carriepolero.com, at Carrie Polero on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, everything. Get some work done. If your other half wants to change her behaviors, you have her, you have me, you have Doc. And if you need help from me, you can go to letsgo.boundariesandbrotherhood.com to get your free assessment. All right. And Carrie, end the show, please.
Oh my God. Thank you guys. This is Carrie Polero from Worthy as Fuck. And
God. All right, guys. Aloha.
Gordon.
Oh, what happened? Wait, what happened? What did I miss? What did I miss?
I introduced myself with ending and then I said, and
Oh, and Gordon
set the
Watt
tone
from
for
Boundaries
you. And
and
you're like,
Brotherhood.
oh yeah,
I'm sorry. And that's Aloha. I
all
fucked that one
good.
up. That's gonna be good for a blooper.
That was awesome. That's a great
In this
blooper.
live. That was good. Perfect. Yeah, we had that. That was a deep one, actually. We always have good talks anyway. Let's see if it
Yeah, that was
ends.
good.